Today we're diving into something that I believe every single human needs, especially right now, especially in this season, and especially if you've been feeling stretched thin, spiritually tired, or like you're walking through more darkness than light. This episode is about Kislev, the month where we celebrate Hanukkah. It's about winter, and it's about finding God inside your own being. But more than all of that, it's about you and the part of you that still wants to believe, even after life has disappointed you, in the goodness of all things. So it's about the part of you that's tired of bracing for impact, or the part of you that's longing for warmth, for reassurance, for some kind of sign that you're not alone in the darkness. The part of you that wants to feel held by something bigger than yourself, but maybe just does not know how. So we're going to talk about Panim El Panim, what it means to meet God inner to inner. Not through performance or perfection, but through radical honesty, through presence, through that soft, shaky moment where you turn inward and you whisper to yourself, to the Creator, okay, I'm here. Meet me here too. We're going to talk about winter, why it feels so heavy for some of us, and why spiritually it's actually designed to bring you closer to your own light. We're going to talk about the oil, that tiny spark inside you that refuses to go out, even when everything else feels dim. And we're going to talk about belief, the kind of belief that is messy and human and sacred and hopeful and brave all at once. And most of all, we're going to talk about trust. Trust that the goodness in your life is not going to disappear. Trust that divine kindness is not a tease, and trust that the miracles that you're praying for might be closer than you think. So my intention for this episode is pretty simple. My desire is for you to, listening to this episode, and feel lighter, to feel less alone, to feel hopeful. And I want you to remember the spark inside of you, even if it feels tiny, and to trust that it's enough for the Creator to work with in order to manifest miracles. Because let's face it, this month, this season, this energy, it's here to remind you that light does not disappear in the dark. It grows in the dark. It strengthens there. It's born there. Rabbi Nachman says there is nothing as whole as a broken heart. There is something that gets birthed in the wound, the fertile soil of our wounding. So take a breath, soften your shoulders, and settle in. This episode is for the part of you that still hopes to believe again. This episode is meant to ignite your inner flame. So let's dive in. Becoming a co-creator with the Creator is your birthright. Together, we'll journey into your deepest authenticity, because the more you align with who you truly are, the more effortlessly you call in the life that you desire and deserve. And most importantly, the more you step into your soul's highest purpose. Welcome to the Manifestation Method podcast, your #1 source for Kabbalistic manifestation. Here we combine the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah, modern psychology, and quantum physics to help you achieve real, tangible manifestation results with my proven Abra method. I'm Ayelet Polonsky, and I'm here to guide you on your journey of manifesting a life that is aligned, expansive, and deeply connected to your highest self through the sacred energetic mechanics of Kabbalistic manifestation. To learn how to use Kabbalistic manifestation to transform your life from the inside out, go to ayeletpolonsky.com or download the Manifestation Method app. Let's open the gates of manifestation together. Let's talk about something that sounds really mystical, but is actually one of the most comforting, grounding, I'd say, ideas in all of spirituality. Okay? And that is what it means to be Panim El Panim with the Creator, face to face with God. In Kabbalistic literature, this phrase, Panim El Panim, is one of the most intimate verses we have. The verse says, "And God spoke to Moshe face to face." Now that sounds epic, right? It sounds like something that only happens to giants of soul, or something we see in movies, right? God talking directly to a human. Like, what does that even mean? But the deeper teachings, especially in Kabbalah and Chassidut, want you to understand something so much more human, so much more personal, and honestly, so much more accessible. Because the word panim, which means face, is exactly the same letters as pnimiyut, which means inside or innerness. And we know that Hebrew words and letters carry codes into deeper, more mystical realms of existence. So when we say Panim El Panim, it's not just face to face. It means inner to inner. It's your inside meeting God's insides. Your inner face, your true self, meeting the face of the divine. And this means the deepest relationship with God is not loud or dramatic or angelic or filled with visions. No, it's quiet. It's inward. It's the moment you stop performing spirituality and actually let yourself be a real human being. So being Panim El Panim means you feel God not only out there in some distant cosmic realm, but in here, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in that place inside of you that longs for meaning, that aches for reassurance, that wants to feel held. It's in those moments when you drop the mask, the facade, the oh, I'm fine, or I'm strong, or I can handle this, or I got this, right? The spiritual persona who always knows the right thing to say or the right mantra to repeat. And instead of that facade, you bring the version of you who's tired, who's overwhelmed, the you who is secretly questioning, doubting, the you who needs some comfort, not answers or solutions. That's when you're Panim El Panim. It's not polished, it's not poetic, it's not refined. It's raw, it's honest, it's intimate. And it's when your full attention, your inner face, is able to turn towards something much deeper, much greater. And you feel like that something is turning towards you. And listen here, it's not about feeling spiritual. That's not my goal, and that's not the essence of what I'm trying to convey. Right? It doesn't require you being in a good place or aligned or in a holy mood or even centered. You don't have to meditate for an hour or journal a whole notebook or be on a mountaintop at sunrise to experience this. Panim El Panim happens in the messiest, most human moments. It happens when you're crying in your car and you whisper to God, I don't know what to do. When you're lying in bed at night, replaying everything, and you suddenly feel a little softness enter the room, right? When you take a deep breath and say, I can't pretend today anymore. Right? When you let yourself be really honest and real about where you're at, right? It's the shift from speaking about God to actually speaking to God. And eventually, it's about feeling God speaking to you, not necessarily in words, but in a sense of, I'm here and I haven't left. Because this is what the soul is built for. Not for perfection or performance or spiritual Olympics. It's built for presence, real presence, raw presence, authentic presence. Inner face to inner face presence. Here I am, Hineni, all of me. And this is why Kabbalah insists that Panim El Panim is available to every single person. Not just to Moshe Rabbeinu or to enlightened mystics, not just to people who feel worthy and aligned, right? It's available to you exactly as you are. Even if you feel disconnected, doubtful, rusty spiritually, or emotionally messy. In fact, sometimes the moments where you feel the least spiritual are the moments where you're actually the most Panim El Panim. It's so real because you're showing up with your real face, not your mask. So here's the hope. You don't need to climb upwards to meet God. You don't need to fix yourself first. You don't need to be impressive. You simply need to turn your attention inward. Turn into your honesty. Turn gently. And the divine meets you right there every single time. Face to face, Panim El Panim is the reminder that God is not waiting for you to be perfect. God's just waiting for you. Hi, Ayelet here. I just wanted to pop in and say I am so excited to officially introduce the Manifestation Method portal, membership, and app. This is your home for all things Kabbalistic manifestation. You'll get access to my monthly live workshops, soul deep hypno activations and attunements, all of our manifestation courses, and our global community of manifestors. And the best part? It's just $26 a month. That's less than a latte a week. Come manifest alongside me and start creating the life you desire and deserve. Head over to ayeletpolonsky.com to join us. And you are already in the holiest place, no matter where you are, because that's where you are. And that is the definition of real presence, not resisting what is, but showing up fully raw and real with what is, right? And so how does this concept, inner to inner, face to face, actually become alive in the month of Kislev, this month of Sagittarius, right? Because it's not just some theological idea and it's not abstract or distant. Kislev is a month where this becomes experiential, where it literally becomes the avoda, the spiritual work of the season, especially after last month of Cheshvan, which was tumultuous for so many people, right? Here's the thing about Kislev, which is a sigh of breath air, a relief. It is a month of long nights and short days. Yes, the darkness shows up earlier, the sun disappears faster, everything in the outer world becomes quieter, stiller, more slow. And so on the outside, it might look like less, less sunlight, less warmth, less motion and activity, less clarity, less noise, less stimulation. But here's the paradox. And this is where it gets so awesome. Because spiritually, this is the time when the infinite is actually inviting you closer. Not out, but in. Right? Kislev is not about big mystical fireworks or dramatic revelations. And it's not about God speaking from mountaintops or splitting seas. It's the complete opposite. Kislev whispers, stop searching for God out there. Turn your face inward. I am right here. I've been here all along. Even in your messiest of moments, I live inside of you. Right? It's the shift from God as concept to God as experiential presence. Right? From God as something you study in a book to God as something you feel, right? It's God not as distant, but as intimate. This is the month of inner light, where the outer light softens and diminishes, but the inner light intensifies. Okay, so it's like the whole world goes dim so that your inner sanctuary can finally have a glow up. And this is where Panim El Panim becomes real. Okay, and so what does it look like in practice? And it's actually quite simple, right? And this is why it's so accessible. Panim El Panim in Kislev looks like you sitting with your heart, even if just for 30 seconds, and getting raw and honest with how you feel today. So for me, it looks like, okay, today I feel messy, hopeful, scared, overwhelmed, in need. I'm in my head, I'm in my body, I'm grateful, I'm confused. Whatever it is, whatever I'm feeling, God, meet me here. Not meet me later. The meeting is now. Don't meet me when I'm more balanced or after I've done yoga. Meet me when I've pulled, meet me here in the raw, in the messy, not when I've pulled myself together. Here I am, now. And there's something unbelievably calming and relieving about that, in my opinion. Because in Kislev, you start to sense that your breath is held. that the bigness in your nervous system, as wild as it is held. In Kislev, even in our fear, right? The part of us that thinks we're separate is actually held by something bigger, something steady, a rock, something quiet and deeply kind and loving. So even in your anxiety, even in your uncertainty, even in the long nights and in the emotional fog, there is a divine presence that has never left you, not even for a moment. And so Kislev is about discovering that presence. It's a month of spiritual intimacy, right? Not the loud kind, but the steady kind. The kind that, like a loving parent says, even when you're throwing a tantrum, I'm right here. I got you. You don't have to get it right. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be good because you already are good. All you have to do is just turn your inner face even just a little bit towards God. And here's the magic. When the world outside gets darker, the inner world lights up. It's like the soul says, okay, since the outside can't distract me with brightness and activity and beaches and parties and noise, come inside. I want to show you something. So in Kislev, we learned that the Creator is not only found in loud, big, beautiful, expansive experiences, but rather God is found in the breath, in the simple, gentle awareness that says, I am not alone. I am being held even now, especially now. Okay, so this is Panim El Panim in Kislev. Yes, the world might seem darker, but your inner sanctuary, your Holy of Holies, lights up in a way that it simply just can't in any other time of year. And this is the real magic of miracles in Kislev. It's a remembering who you are, a turning on the light from the inside out, tuning into your goodness, which is kind of scary in the winter because it's dark. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about winter for a second, okay? Because this whole idea of cultivating light from the inside when night gets long and the days get short, what does that actually mean? Right? Because here's the thing that I think most people don't realize. The Hebrew month of Kislev doesn't just happen to fall in the winter by chance. It needs winter. Kislev, Hanukkah, this month, it needs darkness. It needs long nights. It needs the slowing down. The whole spiritual energy of this month is built on the reality that we are moving closer and closer to the winter solstice. So that's the time of the year with the shortest days and the longest nights. And on a soul level, this is incredibly symbolic and important for us to tune into energetically to this time of year. So in the language of Kabbalah, day and night are not just descriptions of sunlight. They're actually descriptions of states of consciousness. Day symbolizes clarity. Day is ease. Day is, things are flowing. Things are working. I can see the blessings clearly. It's bright out, right? It's when God's kindness is revealed right in your face and it doesn't require as much faith, right? And then there's night. Night is uncertainty. Night is waiting. Night is dark. Night is, I don't know how this is going to work out. I can't see beyond a certain amount of space in front of me, right? Night is that emotional or spiritual darkness where you feel like you're walking with your hands out in front of you, trying to feel your way through life. Okay, so we all have day seasons and night seasons. And sometimes those night seasons line up with winter, and sometimes they run on their own schedule, which is also fine. But here's what I love about Kislev. Kislev doesn't try to deny the night. It doesn't say, just pretend everything's fine. And it doesn't say, just think positive and bypass your real experience. No. Kislev teaches you how to carry light inside of the night, not around it, not by skipping over it, but right inside of it. Okay, and so how do we do this? How do we cultivate light when the world or our inner world actually feels dark. And so it's not by forcing yourself into some like fake love and light persona, peace and love. No. And it's not by blasting yourself with radical positivity, or not by pushing or performing or trying to be high vibration when in this moment you might clearly not be, right? Kislev invites us into something a lot more human, right? Kislev says, honor the slowness of this season, honor the depth, honor the fact that your system just wants to move differently in the winter. You're not meant to be at summer speed right now. Stop working against the current. Your soul wants to rest more, feel more, listen more, breathe more, recharge, right? It's like a gas station for our soul, the winter. And so winter isn't punishment, it's permission. And the way you cultivate light in this season is by finding just one tiny point of light each day. Just one little piece, one gratitude, one moment of kindness that someone offered you. 1 second where your breath felt a little bit softer, right? One little tiny miracle, like the kind of miracle that you'll miss if you're rushing to get somewhere, right? One moment of connection that breaks through the fog. And you look at that tiny moment and you say, wow, this moment matters. This is real. And I'm choosing to focus here, whether it's on your child's laugh or a little flower that somehow remained during the winter months. It's the compliment a stranger gave you. They begin with a tiny, sincere turn towards the light. It's little, it's tiny. It's a little bit of belief goes a long way. It's a little bit of oil that lasted 8 days. It's a small flicker, a moment of hope, a single point of goodness, and that is enough. And this is exactly what Kabbalah calls moachin de gadlut, expanded consciousness. And it's not expanded because suddenly your life is perfect or because you figured everything out. No, it's expanded because you're widening your awareness to include what's still good, what's still growing, what is still alive, even if it's hidden, even if it's small, even if it's fragile, because that is expansion, right? It's the moment you train your inner gaze, your spiritual eyesight to be able to say, even now, even in the darkest of darks, even in these long nights, there is light. And it might be small, it might be quiet, but it's here. And I'm willing to choose to see it. And this willingness, this tiny pivot is not nothing. In Kislev, this tiny pivot is everything. It's you standing Panim El Panim, inner to inner with God in the dark and saying, this pain, God, that's you too. And it's not waiting for the day to return, for the light to return, not waiting for all your problems to resolve and trying to rush to get there. It's not waiting to feel perfect or peaceful, but it's choosing intimacy with the divine, even when the world outside looks dim. It's showing up to this marriage in all of its messiness and committing to it. So winter doesn't block your light. Winter is where your true light is born. But the secret here is not to run away from the dark, right? So stop distracting, numbing, ignoring. Kislev invites us Panim El Panim with our true selves, which in order to access, we must be willing to slow down and tune into what this season is here to teach us, because it is so sacred. And it actually reminds me of what happened to me last year, which I'm about to get personal, because I learned this lesson the hard way last winter, okay? Last winter, I had so many voices inside my head telling me to slow down, like literally every day, like telling me to rest, pause, retreat inward, follow the rhythm of winter, listen to Kislev, right? All the cues, all the signs, all the whispers were saying, Ayelet, it's time for a softer pace. Slow down. And I don't know if it's, if it's my age catching up to me, because let's be honest, once you start Googling supplements for joint support, it is a slippery slope. Okay, just kidding. I wasn't actually doing that. But okay, the truth is last winter was the first winter of my entire life where I felt flu-like symptoms or pneumonia-like symptoms, basically on and off the whole season. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And my system last winter kept saying, slow down, take it easy. And I remember just telling myself constantly, like, okay, as soon as I finish this project or this launch or this deadline, then I'll book a day of rest. Then I'll slow down, I promise. Okay? Except I didn't, because it was probably the busiest, literally the busiest winter of my actual work life in my entire life. Okay, I had just expanded my team. I had launched a huge global membership. I was racing to record 3 6-week courses by a fixed deadline. Okay, and yes, let's not forget, I support my local community with monthly gatherings, which we were doing also last winter. And my kids also, well, my kids, they are children, so they're not exactly the most self-sufficient humans on the planet. God bless them. And honestly, thank God for my husband, because if it weren't for him, honestly, I don't know what would have happened. Like he deserves an award for patience, logistics, and just like emotional bandwidth. So yes, the load was nonstop. And here's the truth. When things got to be too much and I ignored the signs that God was sending me in the form of the flu, well, when I still didn't listen, when I still didn't slow down, God stepped in a bigger way. I ended up tripping down a really large step. I sprained my ankle, and not acute, it's like slightly sore type of sprain. No, I had a 3rd-degree sprain, which was black and blue and swollen, and I was in a cast for weeks. So talk about being forced to sit the heck down, okay? And I should say, like, my human design, my physical and spiritual architecture is built with a lot of energy. I was just born this way, So I'm someone who usually needs to actually burn energy off because I have like an excess of energy. So it's really not unusual for me to get 10 things done before breakfast, let's say. Not actually, but like, okay, I could. Okay, but what is unusual for me, and this is what happened last winter, is ignoring the signals of my body. Normally, I'm very good and I preach giving myself what I need, especially as a mom. I'm a huge advocate for self-care, regulating one's nervous system, honoring your capacity. I mean, I teach and preach these things and I really hold to them. But last winter was just one of those, it was just different, right? It almost felt like the load was never going to end. And then until it did, and it ended with a sprained ankle, and I literally had no choice but to sit down. I couldn't walk without experiencing excruciating pain. So winter in its own ways did what it does. It pulled me inward. It shut out the inner noise. It forced me to retreat, to rest, to listen, to recover, which is exactly what Kislev is designed for. And so sometimes we don't choose the season our soul needs, but the season chooses us. And winter has a way of intervening when we don't intervene for ourselves. And it's not punishment. I'm so blessed for my sprained ankle. The lessons I learned were abundant, right? I learned guidance and I was loved. And it was God saying, like, I love you so much. Rest, you're okay. Come inward. I need to speak to you. And what I heard in that silence and that stillness inspired the rest of the year for me. The lessons were insane. Okay, so if this winter feels heavy or slow or foggy, don't fight it. It might just be your soul, your body, or God, him or herself saying, this is your turn inward. This is your Kislev. Come home. I am waiting for you. And God is there all along. And let's just take a side note here and talk about the oil for a moment, because honestly, the story of the oil isn't just the heart of Hanukkah, it's the heart of Kislev. And in many ways, it's the heart of you, right? So let's break this down, because here's the thing. I'm not going to go into the whole story of Hanukkah. You can research that separately, but okay, it's about the Maccabees. And when the Maccabees entered the temple, they didn't find abundance. They didn't find overflowing resources. They didn't even find what they needed. All they found was a teeny tiny jar of pure oil, enough to last just one day, just one, literally. And so instead of saying to themselves, well, this clearly isn't enough, and instead of saying, why bother, let's just give up, let's wait until the conditions are perfect, they lit the oil anyways. And that little flame burned not for one day, but for 8. And here's what I invite you to hear. In Kabbalah, that jar of oil is you. It's the part of you that remains pure, hopeful, good, unextinguished, even after everything you've been through. Right? So spiritually, that oil is your essence. It's the part of you untouched by disappointment. It's your resilience, or the part that still wants goodness even after you've been let down so many times. That oil is your nekudat tova, your tiny point of light that refuses to go out. It's your soul. And every single one of us has that little drop of oil inside. And yeah, some days it feels like a wildfire, and some days it's so fragile. It's a flicker, but it's there, and it's always been there, and it'll always be there. And here's the deeper invitation of Kislev. The part that really hits me on a nervous system level, right? The part that stretches the heart in the best way possible. Kislev is the month that invites you into deeper levels of belief. Not belief in the abstract, not belief in theology, right? Not belief in everything happens for a reason, okay? But belief in something that most of us quietly actually struggle with. And that is the belief that the goodness won't stop. So many of us live with like, oh, things are good. When is the other shoe going to drop? Hanukkah invites us to believe that the chesed, the abundance coming our way, is not temporary. That the divine kindness we can experience in a moment is not just a tease. It's the belief that the rug is not about to be ripped from under you, because let's be honest, so many of us are always bracing for impact. We get something good, a blessing, an opportunity, a moment of peace, and immediately the brain can't be there fully in that moment because it says, all right, well, when is this going to be taken from me? What's the catch? What's going to go wrong next? Right? And this is not because we're being negative. It's because our nervous systems were trained by life to anticipate loss, right? But Hanukkah offers a gentle, radically different message. It offers a soft whisper that comes from the candles themselves. And that is, what if the chesed, the loving kindness, is real? What if it's meant to last? What if this time the goodness doesn't disappear? What if the oil can last longer than it should? What if? What if? This is the question that Kislev asks you to sit with, not intellectually, but with your entire body. What if you allowed yourself to trust the good? What if you stopped rehearsing disaster? What if you let your nervous system believe, even if just a little, that divine kindness and manifestations can be steady, ongoing, generous, not conditional? And what if the miracle wasn't the oil, but rather the willingness to light the little bit you have and expect it to keep going? Right? Because maybe the miracle isn't the 8 days. Maybe the miracle actually is your belief. The belief that the tiny flame, your little spark of hope, is enough for God to work with. And that is a miraculous revelation. That is the deeper avodah, inner work of this month. To not force yourself to feel perfect, but to give your little spark permission to take up space. I love that. Like, let your not enough be lit anyway. Right? Let God meet you in the little tiny place and expand it to something you didn't think was even possible. That's manifestation. That's Kislev. That's Hanukkah. That is divine chesed that doesn't stop, even when your mind tells you it will. Right? It's the belief that the gooder it gets, the gooder it gets, and that's possible. It can get gooder than good. Okay, and so I want to close today and leave you with this. Winter is not here to take anything from you. It's not here to scare you. It's not here to test you. The darkness is not here to break you. Winter is here to show you your own light, to have it be revealed to you without needing to search out there. Kislev is here to reveal to you the truth of who you are. The darkness is here to bring you face to face, Panim El Panim, with the God inside of you. And so this season is not at all about pushing or burnout or forcing or going. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering, which is everything I preach and love about this work. Remembering the spark inside of you that never went out. Remembering the goodness that's still alive in your heart. Remembering the childhood dreams you thought you had to outgrow and coming back to those dreams, right? Remembering that even in the longest nights, even when it feels unclear or uncertain, that there is a presence inside of you that has never left. It cannot be extinguished. Impossible even. Okay, and so Kislev invites you to turn towards that presence. Breathe into it, trust it, let it hold you, let it guide you. Cry to this presence, wail, do what you got to do. But let it expand your vision and awaken your belief in miracles again. And if this episode moved something inside of you, if it opened a door, if it softened your heart, if it reminded you of your own inner light, then I'd like to invite you even deeper. This month, inside of the Manifestation Method membership, I'm hosting a full in-depth New Moon in Kislev workshop where we're going to explore the spiritual psychology of Kislev, the Kabbalistic light of Hanukkah, how to reconnect with your inner essence and your pure oil, how to shift from survival mode to miracle consciousness, and how to meet God inside of you, Panim El Panim. And of course, as always, inside of the membership, which I come on live every single Rosh Chodesh, every new moon, I'll be guiding you through a deep nervous system soothing meditation to help you feel the presence of God within, to tune into the frequency of miracles, to connect with your internal light, and to open yourself to the miracles of this month, because I promise you, when you open your eyes to them, you'll see them everywhere. Okay, so if you're longing for clarity and connection and spiritual community, then come join us. The link is in the footnotes of this episode. The doors are open, and it's where I get to meet you and know you personally on a one-on-one basis. Okay, and so the month of miracles is already here, just waiting for you to step inside. Thank you for being here. And may this winter bring you back home to your soul, to your light, to your God, to yourself. I love you. Thanks for listening. Here's to your rising. If you enjoyed this episode, let's keep the conversation going inside the Manifestation Method Portal app, your #1 destination for Kabbalistic manifestation. Inside, you'll unlock the secrets of manifestation through my proven Abra method, rooted in Kabbalah, psychology, and quantum physics, designed to help you manifest real, tangible results from the inside out. Join our global community of manifestors, explore our signature courses, monthly live manifestation workshops with me, Ayelet, and access our transformational hypno activations and attunements to rewire limiting beliefs and align with your soul's purpose. The app is available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To sign up, head over to ayeletpolonsky.com. Becoming a co-creator with the Creator is your birthright. Let's manifest the life you desire and deserve together.